I've been programming for about a year now, and I wanted to make a project to show all the time and effort I've spent, and that's how I arrived at this little ASP.NET MVC5 project I'm about to show you. I am Victor, and today on Heights Above Sea Level, we're looking at this project. Now, most of my videos are mostly scripted and everything is like arranged, but this one I'm just doing it without really reading off of any script or preparing something substantial. But I just wanted to show this off, and not show it off, but demo it. And I wanted the video to live on my YouTube. So a little bit of a backstory. July 22nd is when I started, and I've been programming mostly in C#, JavaScript as well, but mostly C#, and that's where I wanted to have a stronger foundation in, and that's how I got into ASP.NET MVC5. And yes, I'm aware that there's ASP.NET Core, and the .NET lifecycle has moved ahead pretty far. So ASP.NET MVC5 is kind of old, but the reason for this is because the tutorial I was looking at, I was using, not the tutorial, the course I bought was really old, and they were teaching this ASP.NET MVC5, so that's what I learned. But I knew that if I have a good understanding of this, I'll still be able to move on to .NET Core and build apps using .NET Core and all these other new features coming out. But having the foundation is what I wanted with it to do with this project, and that's why I started with it. The name of this project is Filmo. It's an online video rental store, so you can get movies and rent them out and return them. And mostly I was focusing on the back end, and I know the front end stuff, even though I've learned that as well. I didn't spend too much time on making it super gorgeous or super beautiful, the best UI, UX. I mostly focus on the back end because that's the purpose of this project. So let me show you around what it's supposed to do. First of all, here's the home page. In order to see the movies, you have to log in. So I'll walk you through that in the back end as well. But the pricing, anyone can visit it. Anyone who's not logged in or signed up can visit this. And again, these are just a few things to show the subscription options. I could have done more with this, but I wanted the focus to be on the back end and not get bogged down with the styling and making sure it's a super amazing application you can just sell to someone. I was mostly focusing on learning. And again, this is older ASP.NET MVC5. I wanted to do all of that stuff in .NET Core because that's the newer one, the newer version, and I think my efforts will be best spent there, and I won't have as much trouble. Like, for example, even using Bootstrap 5 that came out a couple of weeks ago gave me a little bit of trouble in this project, but either way, I didn't spend too much time on the front end. But let's keep going. So the only things that you can see without logging in are the home page and the pricing. And in order to see anything else, you have to sign up. So I made two roles. There's the admin role, and then there's everyone else. So I can start with the admin, or I can start with the guest, which can be anyone else. I can create a new account, or I can log in as the one I already created. So guest is the name of the account. A little generic, but it will do. And once I log in, it's supposed to say my name here, but let's try it. Go to movies. Yes, here, hello guest. And I can see the movies. I don't know why it does that, has that little delay. I think that's more of on the part of Visual Studio, but this is what it's supposed to show. And as a guest, I can see the movies. I have Annabelle, Captain America, High School Musical, Ready Player One, and all that stuff. I can look at them. And this table that you're seeing here is a package called Data Tables. And I will walk through that in a little bit as well. I can rent a movie. So the name of the customer, if it was me, let's say my name is James Henderson. Whoops. And the movie I want to rent out is Suicide Squad. You can rent out multiple movies as long as it's at least one movie. Let's say another one like the Hunger Games. I submit, I get this little notification. This is also another package I will discuss shortly. It's called Toaster. And then successfully rented out. There's also validation, like if I do that and not finish it, it says please select a valid customer. If I go to the movies and with something that's not accepted, please select at least one movie. And those are some custom rules I will walk through quickly later on. But as you can see, I can't edit the movie or delete the movie. In order to do that, I also can't access the customers because only an admin can access the customer. So if I log off and log in again, this time as the admin role that I created, now I can see the customers. And here they are. These are all coming from a database. I'll show you that in a little bit as well. We have this Abdelaziz, Alicia, Brianna. I can go to the second page as well, data tables. When I click on a customer, I can edit the customer name. Like let's say this membership, go back, this membership is annual. Let me change that. I can change that to be maybe monthly. They decided that they want to be monthly, and when you're not an annual member, you lose your loyalty club membership. But they wanted to subscribe to the newsletter, so I set that to true, and it's monthly now. And I can also decide if I want to delete this customer. Are you sure? It asks this, and this little box is using Bootbox plugin. And if I press OK, he's gone, and he's also gone from the database as well. Now the same thing for movies. As a guest, this was rent movie, but now it's add movie. So I can add another movie. Maybe let's say G.I. Joe. Genre is I don't know what genre is G.I. Joe. Maybe action. Rating PG-13. These are also from the database. All these ratings. Length, maybe we can say 1 hour 45 minutes. I haven't watched too many movies. I don't remember when it came out. Let's say 2nd of July 2010, and then they add these 6 months, so like maybe before Christmas, 20th of December 2010, and we have about 13 in stock. And here it is, G.I. Joe. And if I click on it, I can edit the movie. Maybe it's not PG-13, it's PG. Change that. G.I. Joe, PG. Maybe change it again so you can see. Action is now science fiction. Genre is science fiction, sorry. G.I. Joe, genre science fiction. Again, I can delete this. It's gone. All right. So that is it for just the demo. Let me now walk you through the back end of how I got all this done. I think I've covered everything in the home page. If you sign up, this takes you to the sign up page, which is the same thing as if you logged off and signed up again with this. But yeah, also again, this is part of the Visual Studio. I think it's giving me problems because if I click here, it goes back even though I've logged off. So I don't know why it does that. But anyway, either way, I'm not, as you can see, I'm not logged in. I still have to log in to access anything. So I don't know why that happens. But let's go to the back end. All right. I will start off with the packages that I used for this project. Like I mentioned before, let me open up the package manager console. So I added AutoMapper. That's for mapping. I will show you that in the API. Bootbox, like I told you, the little thing that came up when asking me if I wanted to delete the customer or the movie. And Elma for logging of errors. Glimpse is just this thing you see down here to show you the performance for performance profilings, and all the requests and all that. It takes this long to load the page and what controller and action you're accessing. So it's very helpful. Going down is jQuery data tables. That's this. Let me log in again as admin, just so I can show it to you. This whole table is done with data tables. And I will show you that when I'm talking about the views on the front end. Okay. What else? Most of these just came with the with the with the template of the ASP.NET project. Twitter type ahead. This is the one where, let's say I want to rent a movie and I type J. Like this is the package. This is my Twitter type ahead, and I'll show you that also as well. So if I type J, there's that. If I type D, I see all the names with D, like Damian Marley, Deontay Wilder, Richard Akande. And if you go to here, Damian Marley, Deontay Wilder, and the second page, Richard Akande. So that's with Twitter type ahead package it's a plugin that helps you search. Same thing for movies. We type S, Suicide Squad, Seriously Single, Soul, and over in movies. Here we go. There they are, Seriously Single, Soul, and Southpaw. All right. And Unity abstractions and Unity, this were for dependency injection. And Toaster is that little notification that says this movie has been rented out. I showed you that earlier. But let's look at the models real quick. I have my movie model, has an ID, name, length, genre, the movie rating, the release date, date added, number in stock, etc. Rental, ID, name, customer. Every rental needs a customer, and the rentals are here when you're renting out a movie. Also the customer class. Every customer needs an ID and a name, and you don't have to supply your birth date, and you can check if they're subscribed to the newsletter. This is the true or false. That is over here when you're adding a new customer. Subscribe to the newsletter, loyalty club member. That's these two right here. Okay, anything else? Genre is just ID. Sorry, where's genre? Just the ID and name. Movie rating. Again, just ID and name. So that's pretty much it for the model. For the controllers, I can close these out real quick. For the controllers, I have the API and the regular controllers. This is the home controller. Remember, if you're not logged in, the only thing you can see is the home page and the pricing. You weren't able to see the movies, and that's why. And the reason why is because I have this filter attribute, require filters that add authorized attributes. So now you need permission to access some of these pages. But for the home page, I added this attribute called allow anonymous. That means you can view the page without anyone seeing it. And here, allow anonymous again for the pricing page. And this one I didn't really implement. I can get rid of this, but I won't do that. Again, what else? The movies controller. Here's my context, the DB context. This is the database. I didn't implement the repository patterns. Because I was trying to recreate the project in the tutorial and in the course, and extend it a bit, as well as add a couple more features that I wanted. I know there's a repository pattern so that I can have less dependency to the particular DB context, and replace it with an interface. That way I'm not really tightly coupled with Entity Framework. And that's something I know how to do. I just didn't do it this time because I was trying to recreate the project I did in the course. Again, the action is movies list. This here is why if you're signed in as an admin, it shows you this option to edit the movie. But if you're not signed in as an admin, it shows you only the read-only movie list. So if users in role can manage movies, added a role so that only people who are admin or who have the role of can manage movies have this option to edit the movie right there. Again, if you add a new movie, the view model returns the form, you fill the form, and usually there's a create and update method for CRUD, create, read, update applications. But I decided to put those together, and the one thing that will separate whether it's creating is the ID. So if ID is 0, it's a new movie. We create that and add that to the database. And if it's not, then it's an update. And so we do this. we get the movie from the database, and we set the name, length, release date, etc. to what we pass into the view model, and then save changes. Again, edit, get the movie from the database, select, pass it to the constructor of the movie form view model, and I can show you that right here real quick. Movie form view model. This is where the mapping gets done. If you pass a movie of type movie, the mapping gets done that way. Oh yeah, that way. You pass the movie to the constructor, the mapping is done, and yeah, you're good to go. You save the changes, and that's it. Again, also delete, same thing, get the movie by ID, context, movies removed from the database, save changes, and that's it. Now to the controller, I'm only glossing over these because this video is turning out to be a bit long, but it's turning out to be a long video, but hopefully it's getting value, and I'm showing some of the things I did, and anyway, let's move on. So the API, movies controller, again, if you want to get the movie query, include the genre, eager loading right here, include the genre and the movie rating, and we only want the movies where the number available is greater than 0. So this string query is used with Twitter type ahead. That way, when you press like J, it queries the database using that J, and you get all the movies with J in them, and you pick one. And this is the mapping right here, mapper.map. This mapping was done using AutoMapper. So here's AutoMapper, and it maps the things for you. That way you don't have to do this the way you did it here in movie form view model like this. The manual mapping is what you do if you don't have AutoMapper. But here in the API, I used mapper.map. And I also have a video on that, a whole video on my channel. I'll link for you to check out how to map using AutoMapper. Okay, get movie with an ID. Get the ID, the movie, do the mapping, include the genre and the movie rating. Same thing with create movie, not similar, but create movie. Get the movie DTO, so that I don't have to pass everything here. I have a folder with all the DTOs. For example, movie DTO is what I'm passing to the API, RESTful API. And I do the mapping, map the movie DTO to the movie class, put that in my database, save changes, and return created. And again, you can look at the how to use AutoMapper video. It gives you everything. All right, same thing, delete the movie with this delete action. All right, now to the views. If you go to the views, the same thing for the customer controller. I just don't want to spend too much time talking about this. Similar thing with the customer controller, mapper, get customer with the query, so that if you type the letter of the customer, the first letter, Twitter type ahead uses that query, and it queries the database and brings back all the customers with that letter in their name. Similar thing with get customer, create customer, update customer, delete customer, etc. Now what else? Okay, moving on. The views. So I'm going to show you the home page. Let's say I have the read-only movies list, the one that only guests can see, and the movies list, the one that admins can see. Now this is using the data tables plugin right here, data table. And in this plugin, we make an AJAX call to the URL, the API movies, to get all the movies. And in each column, there's a name column, genre, length, rating, number in stock, like that. Name, genre, length, rating. So for the name column, we render this anchor tag with an hyperlink reference to this particular action and controller by movies controller. And based on the ID that we pass, that we get from the database right here, and the name of the movie inside that anchor tag, and close the anchor tag, And for the genre, we don't want anything, just the data, the name, and the length and the movie rating. Similar thing for the delete right here. To get this delete, we get the data back, and then we render a button with all these bootstrap styles, the ID of the button, so that when you delete, we make a call to the Ajax. We make an Ajax call to this API/movies to delete the movie. Again, here's the bootbox plugin I was talking about, and this is using jQuery. And I wasn't familiar with jQuery, but this kind of it's similar. I'm more familiar with JavaScript, but this gave me a little bit more of an intro to jQuery, and it's very similar to JavaScript, so I didn't really struggle as much. All right, that's it for the movies list. And for the movie form, now this is mostly HTML. I use the Razor syntax in C#, form for the name, the drop-down list for the genre ID, movie rating, length, release date, my anti-forgery tokens, hidden for, all that fun stuff. And yeah, the home page. Here's the HTML for the pricing. I won't go into too much detail about this. And the CSS is right here, site.css. So navbar brands, all the fonts and all that stuff, it's all in here. And I think I'll probably put this on my GitHub, all of this on my GitHub, just in case someone wants to see this. But moving on, what else haven't I looked at? Customer pages, it's similar thing with customer. Like if you look at the movies and customer, it's basically the same thing. So if you've seen movies, you've seen customer, and same thing, add a movie or edit a movie. It's just a form, and similar thing. For the rental, again, it's just a form. I can show you the rental form. It has the HTML label, input, and here's the Twitter type ahead syntax. This is the Bloodhound engine. This is not custom. This is by the package I was talking about. And queries the customers API, and the wildcard. This is like the letter you type in, the minimum length to highlight. And again, this is a lot of detail. You can just look at the Twitter type ahead package and go to the website. You'll see all of this, how to use all of this. Again, some jQuery, new rental, post method if you want to add a rental. And this is the toaster again, that green thing that said success. You clear the value for type ahead, and you pass the view model, which is just this variable right here with movie IDs and customer ID. And reset the form, and that's it. So I think that's all it is for the model, the views, and the controller. Now, it was a very good learning experience. I'm sorry for the long video, but if you've made it this far, then I'm grateful. I just wanted to show what I've been doing for the past 1 year. And this video is going to be going out on July 22nd, so that will be exactly 1 year since I started. And it's something I wanted to show on my channel, to show the progress I've made and how far I've come. So yes, Filmo, this is the name of the project, and it's all done. Now, what next? Learn C# along with JavaScript and some React and a couple of other things like HTML, CSS, Bootstrap, and I want to move on to .NET Core because that's more recent and I'm sure it's much easier to work with and more recent features. And that's what I'm planning on moving on. I also need to practice my React as well and incorporate all of this in a better project and just keep working and becoming better and better overall with my programming and improving every day. And also, in addition to this, I'll probably be going to some game development as well. That's something I like to do, but not, well, yeah, that's something I want to do as well. So I'll definitely be putting a little more effort on that. But this project was the one that took up most of my time in the past couple of weeks. Now that it's done, I can build off of this and add React and practice my React and JavaScript and incorporate these in more projects up ahead, and just keep working and becoming better and better every day and growing and learning, having an open mind. So if you made it this far, thank you. That's all I had for you guys. Is there anything else yeah you want me to speak about? You can ask that in the comments below. And remember to like this video if you like it. It lets me know that this is the type of content that you might find interesting. And if it gets like, who knows, maybe like 200 likes, I might do a .NET Core version or another project for .NET Core that's similar to this, or even just a .NET Core application. But I'm thankful if you made it this far. Join the Discord. You can ask me there any questions you want. I'm mostly active there on Discord and Twitter as well. And you can follow me on, subscribe to the channel, and maybe check out my other social media. All the links are in the description below. But thank you for getting this far. And that's it. Thank you so much for watching. And as always, from me to you, deuces.